So, Griffin, a couple of days ago, you and I were sitting next to each other in some meetings in New York when this email crossed right in front of us. And of course, we were paying very much attention to that meeting, and certainly we're not watching
Were
this.
we?
I don't think so. Not that particular
I
point.
love a good meeting, but when an email comes in, it's like, hey, hot as hell space shooting. Then my attention can be easily diverted.
And that's what this is. This is Everspace. This is a game in alpha right now from the folks that made a mobile title called Galaxy on Fire, if you can believe it.
I can't believe it. I played those games a little bit, and I was always like, I think they were like one of the first games that was just like really impressive. Like, I can't believe this game is on mobile, even though it wasn't like as, I think, robust as a game like that on a beefier platform would be. I was always like really impressed by those games, so I'm psyched to see them doing some. I almost said real games. That would have been extremely rude, I think.
That would have been super rude. But I like how you said robust, because the Galaxy on Fire series was really a good looking game for
Yeah.
the platform. And for PC, this is a really good looking game. And that's saying something. I've played a lot of space shooters lately, Griffin. I don't know if you're aware of that, but this thing
I've been
looks
following
smoking.
your work. You're a real spaceman.
My oeuvre. But what really kind of blew me away about how Everspace works is attacking this capital ship here, right? This is just a little freighter, not really a capital ship, but look at what happens when this thing goes off. My entire ship
shit.
is thrown backwards. The physics in this game are really thoughtfully done.
Don't just fly into those fuel pods. Okay, let's. Obviously, this thing looks really, really. It looks really good. It looks really, really cool. I feel like that's like evident from the jump. Obviously, it's in alpha. Like, what's there? Like, what's in the alpha? How does it actually feel?
Well, it's a roguelike. So you
Okay.
start off each game with a pretty basic ship, and you just play and go from sector to sector until you die. There are a lot of these kind of refueling ships that are out here mining some of the asteroids and building the future fuel that they are building with these little turrets, and they're owned by Terrans, and I assume Terrans are people from Earth. There's some these Terran freighters that you can punk and just blow out of the sky, but as soon as you do that, some Terran ships show up, but then there's also alien ships.
Okay.
There are drone ships, and each sector that you go to, it's very FTL-like as you traverse towards a warp gate at the end of this little galactic cluster. It's really difficult to make it all the way to the end of one cluster, though. So what's neat, though, is each sector that you jump into has a little story to it. One in particular that we're going to get to had the remains of a large battle in it. Some of them will just be abandoned with these little alien fighters hanging out. Others will be mining stations. But that's one of the things that's missing from this alpha right now is some of those more narrative story elements.
Sure.
So it's pretty bare bones, but you can see kind of a good palette there for them
sure.
to work on going forward.
The roguelike, obviously, FTL is like a phenomenal game, and I definitely think there's some stuff that you could pick up there for other games. But what's interesting is when I saw the trailer for this, it didn't hit me as like a roguelike. It hit me as more of a like freelancer, like long form RPG. And what's interesting to me is like I feel like that's what most of these sort of space exploration games are based around. Like go mine stuff for 20 hours until you earn enough money to like buy a new ship.
Nope,
And it sounds like
that's not this.
That's not the loop that it's going for.
No, this is definitely much more action-oriented. And now, first I picked it up with a controller,
Okay.
and that was not the way to play this game. The controller-based feedback is just not working very
If you're
well.
about to tell me to buy like one of your crazy $1 million like flight rigs, I'm gonna be bummed out.
No, mouse and keyboard.
Oh, okay.
I went with mouse and keyboard with this, the same way that you play like maybe a flight sim like a War Thunder or something like that. It was incredibly responsive. In fact, all the little weapons are gimbaled. So
Okay.
especially from the cockpit view, you don't need to be pointing your ship in the direction that you want to fire.
Can you explain what gimbaled means to somebody who doesn't play Arma 3 8 hours a day every day?
All right, so you don't need to be pointing your ship in the direction that you want to fire. You can kind of ease the guns up a little bit.
Okay.
You can see, like, I'm not moving my ship, but the reticle's moving. So especially when you're in the first-person view, you can aim, like, anywhere in the canopy where you can see without necessarily maneuvering your ship.
That's interesting. All right.
Yeah, especially with the mouse and keyboard, though, it's really responsive. Look, my cursor's all the way over to the right there. Now it's upper right, but I'm flying the ship with the mouse as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But then it's got kind of that 6 degrees of motion like you'd get out of a descent. So I can skid to the right, I can hover up or down, I can stop on a dime and spin around. It's really, really classy the way it controls with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I like. I lack the vernacular to like talk about games like this. But space flight shooters where you're just constantly moving forward stress me out because then like when you have to like take out these little targets on a capital ship and basically you just have to keep doing strafing run after strafing run and like hope that you can like hit your targets while you are flying directly at the thing you're shooting at. That stresses me out. I like this idea of just being able to like float in space and just like
Not
take it there and move in any direction.
No, I was totally able to Han Solo it too, and I was able to sneak around the edges of this large carrier ship and just kind
Okay.
of poke at it from cover. It was really cool.
So what's this customization system we're looking
So
at?
every time you die, you take the money that you earned from that run back to the mission start screen, and you upgrade the base ship that you start with. So
Okay.
the more money that you earn on a run, the more money you're able to put back into the ship for your next run, but money doesn't carry over between runs.
So kind of a rogue. What's it called? Rogue Legacy. Is that what
Yeah,
the game is called?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. That's really great to hear. I like roguelikes a lot. I'm not as into them when like you die and you don't get like anything permanent out of it.
Yeah, no, but also there's really nice pickups throughout the game as well, especially like 2 or 3 sectors in. I was able to pick up like kind of a shotgun thing that just threw 6 or 8 or 12 bolts of actual kinetic rounds out there, not lasers, but like kinetic rounds to really do some damage.
That's pretty cool.
This was really neat. Now, look at the size of the ship. This is like 8 chunks of a massive ship, like half the size of a planet, right? But lurking inside this wreckage are these alien fighters. So watch what I do here. I come up to this piece of wreckage, I stop, and I wait for them to clear the other side of it, and then I just slide out and shoot them down, just using the kind of the terrain to my advantage. That's one of the things that really bugs me about a game like Elite. You're getting in a lot of dogfights in Elite, but you're out in the black of space, and you just end up, running at the guy and turning around, and running at the guy and turning around. This thing
Yeah.
really lets you use the terrain by putting you in interesting environments every time.
This looks so good. Like, I try not to get tricked by like games just because they look good, because there can be a lot of junk hiding under that. But like, I'm like blown away at how good this game looks.
But now, remember I said it was all these bits of a capital ship, right?
Yeah.
This capital ship ran into a minefield. All these little
Oh no,
pink,
Charlie, get out of there!
all these little pink dots that were floating around, these are super deadly mines. So in order to loot this wreckage, I've got to blow up all the mines in this minefield to really to make my way through it and get the good loot.
That's really neat. So, what other like non-combat stuff is there for you to do? Can you mine out some asteroids? Can you go on like just scavenging runs?
You can mine out some asteroids. I had to blow up some alien generators and force fields, and there were defenses in this one mining area that I was at. There was another ship where I was able to hack into the communications array on a ship, and then that gave me kind of the layout of the whole sector.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm
And I
seeing a lot.
imagine you can like outfit your ship to like be better at that stuff.
I didn't see so many of those kind of weird technical mods. I was mostly
Yeah.
seeing like shield mods. I was seeing weapons mods, but I expect some more stuff like that to show up. Apparently, in this alpha alone, there's like 32 different mods that they've baked in, and I haven't seen nearly all of them yet.
This looks so good. Like I want to play this game very badly. I want to play it very badly right now. When's it going to be out of alpha?
No word yet on when it's coming out of alpha, but right now it's playable on PC, it's playable in VR, and it's going to be coming to the Xbox One as well. But when that is, I just don't know right now.